Hello, welcome to the module Digital Transformation. Here we will have an introduction. First, what is digital transformation? Well, if we analyze, transformation is the name and digital is the adjective. I explain this because usually in most companies, we try to focus most of the time in what is just the adjective, but what is really important is that we are using the technology. We are using what is digital just as a mean, but the reason why is we want to transform ourselves to just be better. And sometimes we lose the focus into which one is our final objective, which one is really the success that is going to measure the plan we are going to perform. And why is now so important? Why this is happening? Well, because digitalization is coming and is really transforming and disrupting all the industries. Here we will analyze a curve done by McKinsey in which it explains that the position in the industry in this curve depends on how customers are digitalized. And we will also see that digital transformation is an opportunity to new entrants, but also is a big threat to all the incumbents, to all the established companies. We will see now how when digitalization happens and is massive into an industry, the paradigm is changed and the leaders in the industry usually change completely. And why this is happening? Well, first, what we found is that there is a new technology. Suddenly a new technology appears. And we usually find that the companies that are the first in order to most disruptively apply this new technology to the customer are not the incumbents, but new startups that appears with new disruptive business models. And then what happens is that some companies from the establishment, they see this as an opportunity and they start to use to assimilate this new technology also in the market. This is then when the leaders in the market, what we call the incumbents, start to assimilate the new technology. And then is when really the customers have a massive adoption in all the market. And this is what it happens, what we call the inflection point or the tipping point. This is when all the incumbents that they didn't adopt this new technology are really starting to fall, and at the end they will disappear. And a new market, a new paradigm, a new industry appears where the most successful startups and those incumbents that were agile enough in order to transform themselves are the ones that are happening, and the players in this new market that is created after this inflection point. And well, this is happening in all the industries. It is completely true that the point of the maturity in this curve depends from the industry. Of course, for example, in media, just imagine media, how all the investment is changing from printed newspapers, for example, into digital, from radio and massive television into Google or into Facebook. This is happening really massive. For example, just to give you an example, printed media is receiving only 20% of the income as they were receiving it like 10 years ago. So it's a big disruption. Or for example, tourism. If you were owning a travel agency, this travel agency probably is closed today because now 91% of the physical stores, travel agency physical stores, has closed in the last 10 years. Now we all go to Booking or we all go to any other platform that makes available to us easily and with more information and more digital, more online, always available, etc., etc. All what we need as customers. So really, those, for example, those industries, you can understand how digitalization has completely changed the life of most of the players in these industries. But this is happening in all industries. Maybe if you are working in a utility like energy, or if you are working in a petrol company, you think that this is not going to come. Well, it's going to come, absolutely. It will come later, but it will absolutely radically transform the way your business is going to work. And at the end, it will be a dynamic of a single winner. That means that either you are there or you aren't. But it's not a choice. It's not you are just betting some part of your income. You are betting all in. This is absolutely a game in which only the winners are going to stay in the market in the future. Having said that, it's also true that the price for those companies that do it better is absolutely astonishing. And well, when we want to just start to think in a digital transformation plan, we have basically to answer three questions. The first one is, what's the threat of the opportunity? Let's go to measure it. Let's go to understand it. Let's go to see how our industry is going to change, but also not only to see it as a threat, but to see it as a big opportunity. Just only, I don't know if you know it, but basically the word for threat and opportunity in Chinese is the same word, because at the end they are it's the two sides of the same coin. You can see it as a threat because it's going to be a threat, but you can see also as an opportunity because it's going to be an amazing opportunity for you, absolutely. Also, we will go very in deep during this week into understanding what action shall we promote in order to perform and to do this digital transformation plan. We will see that there are a lot of different parts that we have to cover, and we will see the overall framework, and we will go more in deep into each part of this framework. And finally, once we have done our digital transformation plan, we will go more in deep about how to do it. What things should we do in order to make sure that this plan is implemented and is a success. So, in order to start from the beginning, we first need to understand the environment. We need to understand that there are like three trends that are really driving very fast digitalization. The first one is that the boundaries between sectors are simply disappearing. The borders that happen between sectors because of traditional barriers, both legal or of investment, capex, or anyhow, they are simply disappearing thanks to digitalization. But also, due to digitalization, there are new opportunities to completely change your business model, being better in your cost, being better in having a better customer experience with the customer, having better products, better pricing, etc., etc. We will see that there is here an opportunity and a must in order to have an overall revision of your core business model. Let's go in the first one. Let's go to understand what is happening between in the borders and the boundaries between industries today, thanks to digitalization, and what implies. Well, on the traditional point of view, we had like different industries, like for example telco or financial services, or for example media or utilities. Well, what is happening today is, if you think about this, the new companies that are based on digital, they are over the top. They don't have to invest so much in order to go to your customers. For example, many examples. If you think about Netflix, they are not investing nothing in just building cables to reach the houses of everybody in the world. Those has been doing by the telco companies. But in the past, in order to provide media to a customer, you need to invest into having a cable directly into your customer. That's not happening anymore because Netflix just uses the network from others. Airbnb doesn't own any hotel, doesn't own any house. Simply, they put in touch the customer, the demand with the offer. That's it. Or Uber, for example, they don't own most of the cars. At the end, they are just simply providing a service. And for example, Facebook, they don't have any, they are not publishing nothing. They are the customers, the ones that are publishing, and at the end, just simply they are being as a facilitator in order to reach the customers with other people they want to share. What is happening in this new model is that there are no needs for traditional investments in order to reach and to serve the final customer in a better way. And that means that simply the boundaries between different kinds of industries are disappearing, and you find yourself like Amazon being the best probably e-commerce in the world, disrupting the commerce all around the world, just simply goes into the cloud and starts to have being the biggest provider in the world for cloud services for B2B, for companies, with Amazon Web Services, or now suddenly, for example, going into the video business with Amazon Prime Video. Those sectors, those industries, has nothing to do among themselves. But because there is no barriers today, what just simply they apply is the better they understand how to do things digital to different industries, going into different ones and disrupting them. And here what happens is that at the end, the owner of the industry, the winner, is the one that has direct access to the customer, the one that the customer has the brand in mind, and also at the same time the company that records the data from the customer. Because here the petrol, here where the money is, here where the value is about owning the data from the customer. And here, if you think in your company or in your sector, you should start to think, okay, if this is going to happen and simply the boundaries are going to blur, are going to disappear, how I can see as a threat and what other companies can go into my space and what assets do they have in order to go into my business and how they can disrupt my business and how different their business is from mine. So how fast or how important, how hurrying the threat is, and also what digital products or innovation could they launch in order to go into my market? Those are the first questions that you should ask yourself. But also, you can ask those same questions in a way that you see this as an opportunity and think yourself, okay, if the boundaries, if the barriers among different industries are disappearing, what can I do in order to go to another industry? What other different business models I can provide to the customer in order to make my business grow? So what assets do I have in order to have a competitive advantage in my industry or in other industries in order to disrupt to others, to my competition or to other companies in other industries in order to serve better the customer? And also, what is the maturity in terms of digitalization in this target industry? And finally, how relevant, how important can be for me this industry in terms of income? And if you think this, maybe you start to find a lot of very important opportunities that either if you take it or other is going to take it. Because all the rules, we are in the best moment for businesses in the history of humanity. Never ever in the history of humanity, the way that people is changing the behaviors is happening so quickly, and never ever in the history of humanity, technology is moving forward so fast that so many different business opportunities are appearing to new entrants and new startups, or of course for yourself. Just please think about it. And second, let's go on to understand how can I reinvent my core business and how can I reinvent my business model in order to make it better. And here I will go to the definition of McKinsey, in which it defines digital, and it defines digital as the combination of technologies and capabilities that allows organizations to first automate this process. That means how I can be cheaper in order to automatize things that I'm doing with an extra cost today, that I can reduce it. Second, connect better with my customers. That means also how I can have a better customer experience, and so then have better income from customers, and that other customers choose me because I'm better at this than others and my competition. Third, make better decisions, applying big data, and that means I can be more clever than my competition, and so then make better decisions. And finally, how to innovate to build different business value services, creating new products that were not possible in the past, but now through technology, those new products are available. Just think, for example, in terms of front end and back end in your company. Here on your left, what you have is what is happening when it is manual. From the sales point of view, you have people trying to take care of your customers, but sometimes the level of satisfaction of this process is not the best one, and also it's very expensive. Just only in Spain, it is spent more than 2 billion with B euros year in call centers. So there is a big expenditure here, and customer satisfaction is not very good. And also even worse in the back end. That means what the customer is not watching, what the customer that doesn't see, but what is happening inside your company. And here there are so many processes that are today manual that can be automatized, that the expenses is much higher, and also the problems that it incurs in terms of customer satisfaction and problems inside the company because they are not automatized is absolutely amazing. Just think about how you can improve with this, the expenditure, the customer satisfaction, the information you have about your customer, and also how you can launch new products just only digitalizing everything related with the customer in the front end with the customer and in the back end what the customer doesn't see. And as companies, what we must focus into digitalizing both things. Just think about Amazon. Amazon first digitalized the front end at the very beginning. It was a web page in order to sell books to the final customer, but inside everything was manual. Now, absolutely everything in Amazon is automatized. They have robots. They bought 6 years ago automatization robot company, and now everything is moved into the warehouses of Amazon. Everything is moved with robots, and the use of physical human hand workforce is absolutely very low. And by the way, just Amazon reduced 54,000 employees around the world in their warehouse because of digitalizing all of them. So this is here, this is a trend that's happening, and it's not only about what you see in the web page, it's also what is happening in the back end of your company. And by doing so, most of the companies are moving from having a lot of dependency into physical channels to move into be very online. Here I'm using the example of the banking industry because I think it's one of the ones that were in the past more dependent about how to provide the customer care to the final customer. And here, through the usage of branches, for example, in Spain, there are more than 40,000 branches, or branches are the stores from the banks. They are called branches. 40,000 in Spain, just in order to serve the customers. But what is happening is that the customer prefers, most of the time, especially young age customers, they prefer digital channels. So the opportunity here, in order to better serve the customers and reduce the cost from the financial sector or the financial industry, is absolutely amazing. And either you are here and you are promoting this, or others are going to do it, other competitors, other banks, and you are going to be much more expensive and with much worse customer experience, and at the end you are going to be out of the market. And this is even happening in such a protected industry as it is banking. Imagine in others that is happening much faster and they are not as well protected as this one. And also here, for example, you can see what is the digital advantage of those banks that are the leaders in digitalization compared with others that they are not in average. And we can see here that more or less the leaders, for example, in Spain, the leader in digital banking is ING. ING is the most important bank in terms of having only digital customers in Spain, and the average cost per customer or the average cost per volume of money they have in the accounts is only 1/3 of the cost that traditional banks have. So these are very important. It's a huge competitive advantage for this kind of companies, and it's going to be more and more important in the future. And how I can reinvent my core? Well, I can do so many things. I can improve my products, for example, innovating, creating new products that doesn't exist. I can, for example, also improve my products from a customer point of view, being able to provide a better interaction with the customer with low-cost access, for example, to my services, or for example, having more feedback from the customer, so doing products that are more focused on what the customer really needs. Or I can also use digital or data in order to have more analysis of the behavior of the customer, so my products are better designed in order to really satisfy the customers. Or maybe they are more automatized, and even I can have like A/B test or multivariable test in order to understand which product is really going to be the one that really is better for the final customer. Also, from the marketing and sales point of view, I can change, for example, the way I charge to the customers. Now, with digitalization appears models like the freemium model with a free trial, and you just only pay for upgrades. And you can, for example, also have marketing that is more focused in the word of mouth, in the social networks that are happening today thanks to digitalization. Or also you are not paying for advertisement that you don't know how it's going to happen. You just only pay for per new ad. You pay per new customer that comes to you, because in digital marketing you can measure absolutely everything. Or you can understand very well what your customer is doing and just only invest on those media that are really giving to you the returns that you are expecting. Or you can reduce the cost through e-commerce. And in the back end, what you can do? Well, if the customer does himself something in a digital channel, the idea is to continue all the customer journey through digital methods, all end to end. So first, the customer experience is going to be much better, and second, you are going to spend much less money. You are going to have much more a lean philosophy, so your costs are going to be reduced in a huge way. And also, for example, with dynamic workflows, you can have a real-time adaptation. You can have much more information about your customer, about what is going to happen. You can also have this feedback in real time to your customer, so the customer experience increases absolutely in an astonishing way. And also, for example, you can have a real omni-channel experience. That means that the customer knows what is happening, everything, doesn't matter what channel he is having the interaction right now. And also from the billing and after sales, you can understand that now, for example, with Siri or with different virtual assistants, you can really serve the customer in a much better way, and it's going to be almost cost-free, because at the end it's being completely automatized. You can, for example, explain with Siri or with Google or with Watson what's happening about your billing, and there is no people about this. It's completely available. It's real time. You don't have to wait. It's absolutely much better for the customer, and it's much cheaper for you. Or you can use social networks for interacting with the customers, or you can have an intelligent stock management, or for example, you can have many different digital payment methods that are available today. Well, these are only just examples of how you can go through your value chain and understand how you can use digitalization in order to add more value to the customer, reduce cost, have more information for the customer, and have new value propositions which are completely new and were not available and now are available thanks to digitalization. So, in order to summarize, here we have analyzed that digitalization is happening absolutely for everybody, also for you. You must be ready, and you can see it as a threat or as an opportunity, and that depends from you. And it's going to happen anyway. It's going to be also a threat and an opportunity. What is going to be for you is going to depend if you take action or not. And here you have to analyze the following issues. First, you have to ask yourself, what is the defense strategy of my business against new attackers that can use digitalization in order to go into my industry? Second, what other advantage opportunities should I pursue? That means not the threat, but the opportunity. Where I can go, which other different industries I can attack with a better value proposition thanks to digitalization and thanks to the fact that now with digitalization, the traditional barriers are fading, are disappearing. What should be your aspiration in terms of sales, in terms of cost reduction, in terms of data, in terms of new lines of products? Which one are going to be your target, your ambition, and how much do you want to acquire? And finally, not only in the top of the P&L, which means the income, but also in the bottom line, which means also how can I reduce cost using digitalization. Well, I hope you like this first session. I hope you enjoy it. And well, as you know, you can reach me for any inquiry you have Here I leave you my contact details. Thank you so much for being there, and I'm here for whatever you need. Here you have my contact details. Thank you very much. Thank you.